Hi everybody, welcome to Ye Spurts TV where we talk about everything Spurs. Today we're looking at the managerial situation and we know that Tottenham are, well, we don't know that for sure, but rumours in the pipeline or in the background telling us about managerial choices that the club are making, even though the club haven't made any statements. We'll look at that with two of my guests on the other side. In the meantime, come on Ye Spurs. Welcome back. This is Come On Ye Spurs TV, like I said, where we talk about everything Spurs. And with me today, I've got Chuma, and I've also got Klaus. Klaus was on the program the last time when we were looking at the international break. But today we are looking at who do we want as the next Spurs manager. The so-called leading contenders are Luis Enrique, Julian Nagelsmann, and Mauricio Pochettino, our former manager. If this is your first time here, this is Come On You Spurs TV, where we talk about everything Spurs. Subscribe to the channel, like this, and leave your comments. And if you want to get notified anytime we go live, please click on the bell button for your notification. Yes, so straight into business. Chuma, how are you?
Well, I'm super good, super blessed. I'm happy to be discussing three very good managers, and the others as well. There's Thomas Frank from Brentford. There's Roberto De Zerbi, but because I think the reason you have these three names here now, these three gentlemen are all out of contract. Julian
Right,
Nagelsmann,
they're
more
available
recently,
basically.
they're available and they come for the perfect Daniel Levy price, free.
Let's say hi to Klaus as well. Klaus, how are you? You okay? You okay?
I'm good.
Thank you for joining us again. I loved you last time. Thank you again for. I know we didn't scare you off, but so that's a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah, thanks.
You had
It's
your
nice
baptism
to
the
meet
last time, so yes, it's good to have you again. Right,
you.
so let's get into it. So we have three really good managers in the sense that look, everyone knows Pochettino, right? And
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start. Do we start with Pochettino? Do we start with how do we start? I mean, guys, go. You go, and I'll leave you guys to take it one by one. I mean, if I
I'll go with Cloud. Let's go in, if we can, let's go in order of preference. So the person you prefer the most, next, and then the last, the least. So
right, okay.
in order,
So
how do
if
you
we just
prefer
sort of
them?
take in terms of a look at maybe it's a bit of background if you like to sort of give people who are listening to us a bit of background of to each and every one of them of the potential contenders. I mean, everyone knows Pochettino. I mean, he's a front footballer, football coach. He's been with us before, and we know of him, and everyone loves. Well, I guess if you did a poll today of Spurs fans and say, "Do you want Pochettino back?" You probably get that the vast majority would say they want him back if they had a chance, right? You have the odd minority who would tell you that you don't go back to an ex, and it all and in tears, I'll come back at the end with my view, but yes, that's those are sort of two contending uh, perspectives. But let's look at if we start with Nagelsmann for instance, and see in terms of what it comes with, I mean, how do people become aware of him when he took over Hoffenheim, right? And
Yeah.
it was 828 at the time, and Hoffenheim were almost on the verge of relegation when he took them over, and
Yeah.
he got them to fourth in the league, before the end of the season, and I mean, okay, fine. He went out to Leipzig, and then from there he was hunted by Bayern Munich. So in terms of trophies, he already has the Bundesliga already, in his first season, and the German Super Cup. I guess with Bayern Munich, it's almost inevitable, isn't it? I mean, given the nature of that team, you know. But guess what?
Hmm?
When he actually won the Bundesliga under 19 with Hoffenheim, you know, and that counts. I mean, so it's like it's been what since 2016. He's been at the top of the, so what, about 5, 6, 7 years now. So yeah, it's no longer a spring chicken from that, but he's still a very very young coach in terms of experience, right? So, I mean, he kind of, how did he come into football? I mean, he was a defender. I think he sort of kind of he had an injury which sort of wrecked his career at the age of 20, and he became a scout for teams, right? I think his former boss was actually Tuchel, you know, at Augsburg. So yeah,
Thomas Tuchel. Yeah.
yeah, Tom Tuchel was his ex boss. So he's in terms of tactics. I mean, he has this all sorts of form. I mean, I think if you look at his philosophy is that, look, it's 70% competence, right?
Yeah.
30% tactics. So it's pretty good way. Maybe what you might want to call, maybe describe his approach to the game. And overall, right? You can't sort of pin him down to one particular tactic. He sort of takes his tactics based on the matches that he's playing. So he's very very fluid. He responds, and he's very very strong tactically. So that for me, he would be, I mean, a really really interesting proposition from Tottenham's perspective. However, the downside, if you want to look at it as a downside, is that he has no Premier League experience, right? And some people tell you that Premier League would chasten you, would bring you down a level.
Brilliant.
I don't know, that's Nagelsmann for you. Um, Luis Enrique, I mean, we know his pedigree. He was with Barcelona many years, a serial winner. I mean, multiple championships with Barcelona. Um, but if you look at what he did with Roma, he didn't didn't do that great. He hadn't done that great with Celta Vigo, but he has an attacking mindset. He's front foot footballer. From a Spurs perspective, he would fit in almost perfectly with kind of play that we have as a team. However, a lot of people maybe will criticize him and say that, okay, you play a lot of tiki taka, but you don't actually score a lot of goals. But my perspective, I think, look, he has never had someone like Kane as a top striker up front. So it's Kane and Son up front. Even when we play on tiki taka, they would score goals, and they would just really open teams up. But that's a summary of sort of managers that we're looking at. So go, guys.
Okay. I think I'll just pick on the three of them and like you did right now, so that I'll just put it out there. Now, I think most people on the forum will know I'm a huge fan of Pochettino, and I'm a huge fan of the type of football he plays. And solely because Pochettino made use of the players he had at every point in time. Okay, Pochettino was that guy that made use of the player that was provided to him, and despite the fact that he wasn't backed enough then, he made sure he delivered. And when I say he delivered, imagine delivering with the types of Sissoko, with the types of Wanyama. Those were not top tier players then. And he still delivered. He made sure bringing Kane up and making him a first team member then. All these players were people that no one really looked at then. But he made sure that he made them tight, he made them top four contenders. He took them to the Champions League various times. Pochettino got to the Champions League final with Sissoko and Wanyama, with the likes of Sissoko and Wanyama. He got to the Champions League final without his top goal scorer. Okay, because Kane was injured against Man City then, and he still scaled through to the final without him in Ajax and without him in the second leg of Man City. He still scaled through to the final. Those are the kind of coach we need, not someone that lays a lot of excuses. Because with what Pochettino had then, I could not imagine if Conte had that type of squad right now. Like you will lay the whole club in. Yeah, imagine Conte without his top goal scorer, and he's going to the Champions League quarter final. He's going to the Champions League semi final. I think everybody will be on fire because Conte will be like, oh no. So I think Pochettino is that guy. Now, the main reason Pochettino left then, I think it had to do with the club not backing him, right? If you had this kind of coach and even with the type of players he has, he still went on to do good things, making the club basically a big club, a top six contender. If you had backed him up, we would have got more out of him. But that's gone. And I think if you bring it back now, with the experience he has had, with PSG, with the experience he has had previously with Spurs, and backing him up with the kind of attacking player he has now, like more experienced attacking players he has now, and with a few tweaks, I think he's going to do great, right? Then we have Nagelsmann. Nagelsmann is a young coach that I think tactically is sound. And when we talk about young coaches, where you see sporting coach, you see the likes of Xavi, tactically they are sound because and here's the theory of why I think most of them are sound. Now they don't have an identity, right? When I say they don't have an identity, they don't have a solid formation they use. All we know is that they are front footed. And why do we just think they are front footed? They don't have a set formation that, oh, they use 3-4-3, they use 4-3-3. This is because these young coaches they draw experiences from all the coaches they have around them. Someone like Xavi will draw experience from Pep, will draw experience from this, will draw someone like Nagelsmann will draw experience from Tuchel, probably draw from Mourinho, draw from this. But when you have someone like Mourinho, you have a set formation. He doesn't care whatever team is coaching. This is the formation he wants to use. I think that's what we saw with Conte. He had a set formation. He doesn't care what team is facing. He doesn't care what is going on in the game. That is his set formation, and that's what is going to. They see it as their identity, right? Now with this new set of coaches we have, especially these young coaches, they don't depend on a particular set of formation to term their identity. They go with the experiences other coaches have laid down in front of them and pick different formations to tweak. That's why you see in between games, you someone like Nagelsmann, if he sees that the play is not going his way, he tweaks his formation and brings out another style of play that makes sure that his team gets the desired result. We saw that with Sporting Coach too when he was playing Spurs. We see that with Xavi. If Xavi will go with 3-4-3, 3-4-3 today, tomorrow we'll go with a back four. It's good. It's always good when you know that your coach is always up to date with what is going on in the team and is ready to tweak his formation to meet with the requirement. That's why now when we go to the last person, Enrique. Now, the reason I'm not that psyched about Enrique is this. Now, we saw Enrique he did very well at Barcelona, and we can say he had the tools to do well with the Barcelona squad. He had the likes of Messi, he had the Busquets, he had a lot of good players in the Barcelona squad. Now, when he went to Roma, when he went to Celta Vigo, we can say he didn't have those kind of tools, and he wasn't able to adjust really well. Now that's the problem I have. I have a problem with coaches that can't adjust to the kind of squad they are provided with. What if it comes to Spurs and the kind of players he meets are not the kind of players that he can adjust to suit that kind of play? Because Enrique plays a tiki-taka kind of football, and if we have players that cannot, we have people like Obi in our midfield, and I don't think Obi is a tiki-taka kind of guy because Obi is not good with the ball at his feet. It's always good when a player is coming towards him and he tries to win the ball and lays it off to someone like Bentancur and the like. So we can't say we have those kind of players that will help him. Adaya is not a tiki taka kind of guy. I can't say someone like Romero is a tiki taka kind of guy. I don't even think Son, one of our best players, is a tiki taka kind of guy. Not even Kane because they are this kind of player that when they receive the ball, they want to go and attack straight up. They don't want to play with the ball. Nobody wants to play with the ball in the midfield or they want to go and attack. I don't think Kulusevski is someone that will play 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. Those are not those kind of guys. So what happens when Enrique don't have those tools to play his style of football? Because we've seen with Nagelsmann that when he was at Offian, when he was at Leipzig, he was able to adapt and use whatever tools he was provided with to attain good positions in the Bundesliga. So I think for me, I'll go with Pochettino and Nagelsmann. But if I'm to pick one, I'll say Pochettino because he has that Premier League experience. He has gained more experience. He has experience with the squad previously, and I think he's someone that will take the squad. He has according to him, he has an unfinished business with Spurs. So let's hope he's able to finish that business with the trophy.
Thanks for that, Klaus. Now, just sort of put a bit of, well, to add to what everyone's saying. I just read out this tweet from Alistair Gold, right? And
Yeah,
what Alistair said a few days ago was that, look, a little piece on Julian Nagelsmann, a man Spurs have contemplated hiring twice before, and he developed a real affection for the club, right? Tottenham
yeah.
should be wary of hanging around if they want to finally bring him to N17. I mean, so that's pretty conclusive from that one perspective. I mean, I think if you want to bring him, I mean, go for him now. What do you think, Chuma?
Well, I'm if Klaus is a Pochettino fan, then I'll be like Eminem. I'm a stan. I have stalked Mauricio Pochettino. I have journals from 2012. I followed him at Espanyol. I followed him to Southampton. I followed him to Spurs. Um, so do you know my uncle is on the Nigerian Spurs group? And I like the fact that one time when I was talking about Pochettino, he said, "You are the only human being I knew that knew who this guy was." I was on holiday. I was on holiday in Nigeria in 2014. I came for a wedding, and that's just around the time Louis Van Gaal was being tipped. It was Louis Van Gaal, Frank de Boer, and Pochettino. Those are the three names on Daniel Levy's list.
Yeah.
Van Gaal got the job, but then turned us down. And then Frank de Boer completely ignored us. And so it seemed Daniel Levy was going for this Mauricio Pochettino. And my uncle and I were talking, and I said, look, if it's the grace of God that those two have turned us down, that this third guy, this Pochettino guy, is. My uncle said, I don't understand. I don't know who he. I said, this guy is probably after Pep Guardiola, he's the best manager I've seen. Pep Guardiola has this thing he said about Pochettino. When Pochettino took over Espanyol, they were almost getting relegated. He took over, being their former captain, and he led them to safety. The next season, he took them to ninth. He famously beat Barcelona at the new camp with an Espanyol side that had nobody. And Pep Guardiola said this thing about him. He says, Mauricio Pochettino comes for you. His teams come for you. They don't wait for you to come for. They come for you, and he's a very dangerous man. And I looked at that. He came to Southampton in January. They had Nigel Atkins as their manager. He was doing well. Nigel Atkins is kind of like an Eddie Howe type. He was doing well with Southampton. They were not great, but they were not bad. Pochettino came in without speaking a word of English and introduced Southampton players to pressing football. He got guys like Ricky Lambert into the England squad. He got Luke Shaw into the England squad at 18. He got Adam Lallana into the England squad. People forget these guys. Like 6, 7 guys, Jay Rodriguez, they all got into the England squad from Southampton because the football these boys were playing was unbelievable. James Ward-Prowse, another one. They were playing unbelievable football, and this man introduced them to that. Morgan Schneiderlin turned him into a French international. He now got Wanyama from Celtic, made him a star. You know, he laid the foundations, and he came to Spurs, and people were doubting him. And that first season at Spurs, it was challenging because he didn't want to upset the apple cart. You had guys like Adebayo, you had Kabul, all these guys that were like the grand patrons of the team. But they were horrible for his system. They didn't like to press, they didn't like to run. And then all of a sudden, Pochettino just goes, you know what? After that Aston Villa victory, 2-1, Harry Kane gets a deflected free kick. He says, to hell with these guys. I'm going to just blood all these young guys. And Spurs were reborn under this guy. Front foot, pressing. And I still say to this day, it is not Pochettino's fault that he did not win the league, but the players that he had. Their mindset wasn't strong enough to win. So in the case where Conte is throwing the players under the bus, I throw them under the bus for Pochettino because I felt if those guys had tried. But I think in my mind, they felt they had so many chances to win. So what's the point? If we don't win this one, win it next year. And that's not the way you come into campaigns. Pochettino is very sound. When he left Spurs because he got depressed. A football form of depression. after 3-4 years when you're in a club and you haven't changed players. Pep Guardiola is also very insistent on that. If you're staying for 3 years, no, Laurent Blanc made the comment, sorry. Laurent Blanc said a coach can only be efficient for 3 years with the same set of players. After 3 years, his respect is gone, his newness has gone, his methods are, they know his methods, they don't really care. So that's why you have to keep refreshing the
Needs to need
squad.
a
And
refresh.
Pochettino asked for that. He never did that. And he knew because it's players like people think it's like he wanted to get rid of Dyer, he wanted to get rid of Ericsson because people like Ericsson were no longer tracking. Then also the ankle injuries Harry Kane got. Harry Kane was not that much of a presser anymore as well because his press starts from the tip. It starts from the striker. The striker presses the goalkeeper. One other guy covers one of the centre backs. But Kane is intelligent, so he let Kane slide. So Dele Ali and Son and the rest were the ones trying to do the press for him. But he got depressed. He no longer took training just before end, and he went to Paris. And Paris Saint-Germain now, he now tried to do at PSG, tried to do exactly what he did at Spurs. But PSG have superstars. Superstars don't run. They don't track back. Neymar doesn't track back.
Messi won't track back
Mbappe
either.
tracks back to a point. Messi will never track back. Messi, the guy who was a kid under Guardiola, that guy is no longer that guy now. He won't track back. So if he can't get press from top, it made his midfield very vulnerable, and his midfield started working doubly hard. So PSG, I wasn't surprised that it didn't work. And then also the players could complain to the sporting director Leonardo, who did not get along with him. They could also go straight to the chairman as well when you have that kind of situation, but I think it's helped him. I think he's learned a lot. So coming back to Spurs, I think would be amazing for him because one, I think he has better players in the forward line than he did when he was at Spurs previously. The guys we have now, Kulusevski, Bentancur, um, Sonny's still there. The
In
guys he has now, I think they are more explosive. Danjuma, if Danjuma stays as well, these guys are runners, and it's better for him. Defensively he will find, but it's the same thing Klaus said before in the previous episode about if you know your defense isn't good, what do you do? With Pochettino, it's midfield and attack. You have to stop them coming to my defense, and that's what he's going to do. Nagelsmann, another guy I like Nagelsmann a lot. Like you guys have pointed out, he has no fixed system. He can play back three, he can play back four, he can switch, but it's because of the German system of coaching. While UEFA license, you need 250 hours to get a UEFA license. Germany, you need 800 hours to get the
Wow.
German license. And when you get the German coaching license, you only need to do like a couple of hours and then you've gotten it. The German license is the toughest coaching license to have in Europe, but it is so intensive. So the Germans are creating the best coaches in Europe right now. The Austrians, the Germans, they're all coming to the same place to learn. And they're getting the best information. It's no surprise you see Tuchel, you see Klopp. If you go down, you see that Wagner guy that brought Huddersfield up. You see Daniel Farker. There are loads of these guys around. The German system is so strong. And Nagelsmann is one of the
Where's Thomas Frank
superstars
from?
that came out of their coaching system.
Where's Frank
I beg your
from?
pardon?
Where's Thomas Frank from?
So Thomas Frank is Danish.
Okay.
So Thomas Frank was the under 21 manager in Denmark. So he was the
Okay.
one who first blooded Christian Eriksen when Christian Eriksen was a kid. That's why he brought him to Brentford. But these guys are the best, and Nagelsmann is the star. But the problem with Bayern Munich and Nagelsmann was Hoffenheim and Leipzig were project teams. Bayern Munich was his PSG with Pochettino. There, it's politics. And he didn't fit the bill. He's a young guy. He was skateboarding into training. You know, he got on the wrong foot with Manuel Neuer. He got on the wrong foot with Thomas Muller. All these things add up in these big clubs. You can't mess around with these names. So to me, Nagelsmann is and Pochettino are top of my league. Like Klaus said as well, Pochettino has Premier League experience with two clubs, not one, but two clubs. That means a lot. To carry two clubs to successful position in the Premier League, it means a lot. So it edges him above Nagelsmann. Luis Enrique, I said before, it's the same thing I said about Conte, and Carlson said the exact same thing as well, which is I judge him on the teams that were not serial winners. Antonio Conte, the thing I used to bring him down, if I have an argument with people or debate them about him, I said, well, go and check out his record with Atalanta. And all of them look at me and say, Atalanta? I say, yes. He had the Atalanta job before Juventus, but nobody talks about that job. Atalanta are a good side. They're not great, but they're a good side. They're a top 10 side. He resigned after 3 months because he was in the relegation spot. He couldn't do anything. But he comes to a serial winning team and he takes off. Luis Enrique was at Roma, disastrous. He came to Celta Vigo, mid-table, 10, 9. But he comes to a Barcelona that the foundations have already been set by Pep Guardiola and Tito Villanova. He comes in there and he's brilliant. You and all three of us here, if we had prime Messi, prime Iniesta, we had Xavi, we would win the league. we would coach our way into the league title in Spain.
Absolutely.
But then he did as well as he could. He won titles with them, so I give him props for that. He goes to Spain. Now, if he had won a world title with Spain, I would have given him a lot more respect. But he didn't. And Spain has a wealth of talent. But it's the same thing as well. He's also a fixed mindset kind of guy, like Conte. If he comes to the club now, he wants to institute tiki-taka, regardless of if tiki-taka players exist or not. In fact, I think the best example of if you feel Enrique would succeed is a coach who is like Enrique, but in my opinion, was better than him. Julian Lopetegui of Wolves was coach of Spanish under 21s, amazing. He became coach of the senior team, amazing. Then got to the World Cup, signed for Real Madrid, and the Spanish FA sacked him before the World Cup. Look at Lopetegui at Wolves. He's trying to play Wolves tiki-taka kind of. It's not really working. Wolves are suffering at the moment. That is Enrique. Lopetegui and Enrique are similar, very, very similar. So you look at that and you look at the Spurs and you think, would it really work? So it's Pochettino for me, Nagelsmann as number 2. If any of them signs up, I will be delighted.
Beautiful. I mean, amazing summary so far. I mean, it's very difficult to fault and say which one to go for. I mean, my preference would be Poch any day because I've got a soft spot for that man. I think he was the manager that made Spurs a force to reckon with in today's football. Okay, you had Martinho, you had the a bit of ABB and
Harry
Redknapp, but the guy who gave sports, who put you. I mean, I used to watch matches, right, and expect us to win every match. For the first time in my life, I expect Spurs to win every match. That has never happened to me before. I mean, I grew up a sports fan. I've been sports fan for over 50
Yeah,
years.
I could clearly remember that time when the lineup is coming out. Everybody's excited. Everybody's excited to know what Pochettino has in store because there are some
Exactly.
days you see Pochettino will use Ericsson today and Ericsson by the wings, Dele Ali behind the striker. Some other days you just see Pochettino is not even using Ericsson behind the striker today. He's using him as like then you see Wanyama come in, you see the likes of Harry Winks, bringing up people like Harry Winks. Pochettino brought up
Harry
the likes
Winks,
of
Harry Winks looked like prime Xavi against Real
yeah.
Madrid.
Look at
I
Harry
could
Winks
imagine,
against
I
Real
could
Madrid.
remember
I remember the match that we
Pochettino,
played against Real Madrid, right? At
yes,
Wembley.
That game,
We
that
we
match you
that
cannot
bossed
game.
forget.
Real Madrid. I
I
cannot
think
forget
he
that
also,
game.
yeah. When Chuma was
It's
mentioning players he brought up, let's not forget that Pochettino brought Foyt into the Argentine squad then.
Yes.
Don't forget, Foyt was a very young player.
Harry Winks as well. Harry Winks made the England
Now he
squad.
brought Harry Winks into the England squad. So he has an eye for these young talents. I think when Pochettino was at Spurs, they had the youngest squad. Like average in the Premier League, they had the young and they were doing the energy in the squad then. And we have the like of Trippier, of Davies. We have these guys running. Even Dyer that everybody's chastising every now and then. Just that he found a way to find a balance within the team. There was a
His best
balance.
his best football was under Pochettino. His best football
Yeah,
was under
he
Pochettino.
found he found a balance in the team. Even with I still believe if Pochettino was still around, this far fetched, maybe Dele Ali wouldn't have regressed as much as he did. I know this is far fetched. There's a topic for another day, but I just think with Pochettino was on the team, he had a way of making sure that he found the best out of every player. So, let's just see how it goes. But I pray we have Pochettino because he has a way of bringing the best out of every player, no matter. Yeah,
The only
Pochettino.
negative, if you like,
I can't believe Pochettino brought the best out of Llorente. We must add a backup striker called Llorente, and Pochettino used it in a Champions League game, and he still brought the best out of him. So if Pochettino can bring the best out of Llorente, come on, come on, come on. What are you saying? We have
100%.
Richarlison.
100%.
honestly, I can't fault anything anyone has said. And for me, if I was in that decision making position, I would go for Pochettino without even thinking twice about it. I know Nagelsmann is good, is young, is enterprising, and it's good to have those sort of choices. But I mean, if I had to make that choice, I think he
One
would.
thing we
I
also
think
have to talk about.
by clear my for the reasons you've given Tuma, he has Premier League experience, not one team, with two teams, right? And with both teams,
Yeah,
he's done really, really well. He's taken us to Champions League final. Spurs, Champions League final. Come on, think about it. How can you think of Spurs and Champions League final in the same sentence?
yeah, yeah. With the light, with
And
a very
it
shallow,
wasn't a
very
fluke.
shallow
It wasn't a
squad.
fluke. That's the thing. So, and I mean, I really, 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 I mean, admire Pochettino, and I hope he gets back. Yeah, I really hope he
And
gets
and
back.
and 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 and, and just to add this, he was a coach with integrity.
Yes.
That's another thing. He's someone that even if he criticizes his players, is in-house. Even if he talks about them negatively, he talks about what positive change they're going to do.
I
You
don't
know,
think he ever came out to chastise any player.
he's never chastised the player, and he was so honorable. Like he was the guy that when he left the club, you could see the tea ladies and all these people crying. He came back after being sacked to say goodbye. Like there are very few human beings like that in the world.
I
They
think
come to say
now
goodbye, keep the training
one major
patriots.
thing, one major thing you pick out of Pochettino coaching Spurs and Conte is this. Uh, with Pochettino's style of play, even when he didn't get the desired result, the fans were with him, the players were with him because they knew they played the best type of football. Even in a team, if they beat Spurs, I think most Spurs fans will say this today during the Pochettino era. If they beat Spurs, it wasn't because Spurs didn't play well. It was never because Spurs didn't play well. And if they didn't play well, it was very few of those matches. But every now and then, under Conte, Spurs don't play well for most of the matches we had this season. So if they win, it's always seeming like a fluke, like okay, they managed to get a win. So
Lucky.
that was the main difference between Pochettino and Conte. Because Pochettino, you are always assured of the best football under him, no matter what. So even if you don't get the win, you know your players went all out. They did all they could. They just didn't get the win.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's like it's this is what's the word this is when you sing the what's that thing, so what's that guy's song for Chris Daniel, suffer for what, man, I'll do this till I die.
Yeah,
Anyway, guys, thank you very much for coming. It's been
yeah.
fantastic. So I mean, everyone seems to be almost like unanimous on Poch,
Yeah.
on this. So
I
Back.
think
yeah,
one
Everybody's
more
back.
question I would like to ask Mr. Chuma is if the board actually decides to appoint a coach, would you want him to come in now, or you want him to come in at the end of the
good
season
question.
and
That's a
leave
very good question.
Um,
our Ryan Mason there for now?
I've been listening to a lot of Spurs podcasts in the last couple of days, and there's a lot of hatred for Ryan Mason, and I think it's unwarranted because Ryan Mason did well when he took over from Mourinho, but you have to look at the kind of players he had. I actually think he has better players now than he did under Mourinho's tenure. He actually has a more balanced team. If you think about it now, like if you got Poro, you got
Yeah,
Romero,
balance.
you
We
got
don't have a
Hoiberg.
midfield. Our midfield is still, you know.
No, yeah,
It's
no, no,
just
but yeah, but if he styles it well, if he's smart enough to like play like a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 and bring Kane as his attacking
yeah,
midfielder instead, but Kane
yeah.
doesn't come anywhere else. I think he can actually fashion something. I think if he gets rid of this three-man defense nonsense, it's not working. If he can, I personally think that Daniel Levy has talked to his advisors and they have been upset by that thing. The board have to feel it that this guy insulted us, regardless of whatever you want to say. So I think that Ryan Mason is going to take it for. I wouldn't
But
want Nagelsmann.
I'm actually surprised.
If it's Pochettino, I'll take Pochettino now. Sorry, I'll take Pochettino for the 10 games because Pochettino knows how to do what he does. Nagelsmann, I wouldn't. If we get Nagelsmann, he can come to the club, observe for the 10 matches, and then
Yeah,
do his work in the summertime. But if
just
it's
like Tina.
Pochettino we hire, I want Pochettino to come into that bed. The minute Pochettino walks into Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, that game is gone. Like whoever we're playing is 7-0. Guaranteed. I
I
guarantee that.
think
Seven
the
nil win.
boss from Pochettino coming in, the
Oh, the
boss
fans
in
will be
that
screaming
stadium.
from minute one to the end. We
Yeah.
would win that. If Pochettino, he can take the 10 games. Nagelsmann, summertime.
But now,
Okay.
what I'm thinking is this: why haven't you thought of the fact that probably Levy might be looking at Arsenal and be trying to model the team after like what happened with Arsenal with Arteta? What if um, Levy is trying to say, "Oh, let's put Ryan Mason in charge and see how he does, and then maybe we'll give him some time, and if you see he's doing well, we'll just leave the team with
Oh,
him." What do you think about that?
no.
I
No,
don't think it's
no,
going to
no.
happen.
The difference, no, no, no. The difference is in the type of managers that they are. Ryan Mason needs to like unlike Arteta. Arteta was in the best school possible. What's funny? A friend of mine said to me this morning that with all he knows now, do you think it was a mistake that Pep Guardiola had Arteta as his assistant? Because Arteta has learnt all his moves and he's adapted it that, it's not, but that's how you teach, You look at company as well. He's creating his own disciples as well. So,
That's what
but
I said about young coaches. They don't have a particular style of play. They pick from every older coach
yeah,
that has passed
they
through
are
the
picking
system with
from
them.
everybody.
So it's like a collection of knowledge, or like all those
I
old
think
coaches
Ryan Mason,
that
yeah, in that theory, Ryan Mason is the same. If you going by your point, Ryan Mason has learned from Mourinho, he has now learned from Conte, and he's learned from Pochettino.
Pochettino,
If
yeah.
he leans towards Pochettino, but he tries to incorporate the steel of those guys, like I said I'll give him the 10 games. I'll give him 10 games as an interim,
Well,
but I wouldn't
I think
keep him on forever. I think
the difficulty for Levi as a club owner is that the revenue that comes from Champions League is not received that, right? So for him, he wants to do everything that he possibly can to get us in a position to get back in the Champions League. So it's not something he wants to sort of countenance the chance of us not qualifying. So whatever we need to do to qualify, he will do. He will do that. I think he probably was
Yeah, I
thinks.
think that's why he's
Yeah,
pushing
that's
hiring
probably
the
the that's
manager right now.
what is mulling over. And I mean, I don't know, I've said it before, and I've mentioned on the forum that look, I write one book, and essentially what I was saying in that book was that look, when there's crisis, right? I said it was a book about how wealthy people behave, right? And we'll say that the vast majority of wealthy people that he's dealt with, right, when in a crisis, they keep so calm. They don't lose their heads. They measure everything. They just listen to everybody. Where everyone is going mad, they don't say a word, but they evaluate, they assess, they look at the whole thing, analyze, and come to a decision. And in most cases, they come to the best decision based
Yeah,
on
yeah.
having
I don't think
they've done
anyone
that
would
calm
like to
analysis.
be
And
in
I think
Levy's shoes
that's
right
what
now.
more Levi is in now. Just listening to everybody, and analyzing and
No,
assessing.
like I actually get his point of view because I wouldn't want to be in his shoes right now. I wouldn't want to be in his shoes because come to think of it, people always chastise Levi for catching in on cheap players, finding the cheapest opportunity. But when it comes to coaches, Levy has actually gone out to get the best of the coaches, and he has paid them their money. Look at Mourinho; he was one of the highest paid coaches in the world, and when he left, look at Conte too. Conte is one of the highest paid coach in the Premier League. So he has gone all out to get these coaches. So now He's sacking Conte mid-season and he's trying to get it right as well because any coach he hires now will either make or break that team. It's either he's taking the team backwards and making it worse than when
Yeah,
Conte
of
left it,
course.
or he's taking it forward to at least provide a brighter because whether we like it or not, any coach you bring into the club right now is going to affect the transfer market. When I say affect the transfer market, the kind of players you're going to bring in, you're going to look at the type of coach you have at that club. And if that coach can attract players by what they've been able to play in the next 10 games or by the style of play, trust me, it's still a failure because if you bring in a coach that towards the end of the season, it doesn't do well and probably Spurs drop out of the Champions League, no player will want to come
Hmm.
because they'll be like, Spurs are still trying to find that. So he has to get it right so that when a coach comes in, that coach also serves as an attraction to any other player that coach will want is going to get in the summer too.
Amazing, amazing,
I
amazing,
agree.
amazing. Thank you so
I
much,
agree.
guys. I mean,
Wonderful submission. Wonderful
it's
submission.
we can't
I
even
agree.
can't even fault any of the things we've done today. So I mean, Levi, I mean, you listen to this program, take advice from here. Hire Pochettino right now. That's your best
Yeah,
bet.
indeed. Indeed. Indeed.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys. It's been absolutely having fantastic guys having you guys around, and yeah,
Great. Great session. Thank you.
it's yeah, come on, you Spurs.
Nice. And